Our next speaker is Yogashree.N.V.Raghuram. He is the chairman of Yoga Bharati and professor at VYASA, India. He will be speaking on the concept of Prana and Pranayama practice. The concept of prana, as given by the ancient Indian scriptures, makes such profound sense. Prana is the cause for life. Prana itself cannot be perceived, but its effect in the form of respiration or pulse or some other sensation goes on. In this presentation, we will see different classifications of prana and how pranayama helps us transcend both prana and mind. A brief session on concept will be followed by a practice of pranayama.
Namaste. Let me try to simplify my talk because I have very little time. But let me give some salient 10 minutes more. Thank you so much. If Ashwini gives, I'm assured. Oh, okay. Priyanka. Priyanka is the boss. Many books I come across prana is breath. Many times even some books even mention that prana is the oxygen that you take while breathing, etc., and it is absorbed by the body. My simple mind had a question saying that child is there in the mother's womb for 9 months, not breathing. Do we say that the child doesn't have a prana? I don't agree with that. I think child has prana. So prana must be something which is much more fundamental than the breathing. Rather than thinking that the breathing gives prana, prana gives breathing. Maybe that's the right kind of an approach. In fact, in order to just try to feel that, I would like to give a small little experiment. We'll all try to do it. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, don't make any movement. And then observe your breathing at the tip of your nostril. Breathing in, breathing out, going on. Don't try to meddle with that. Let it happen very smoothly, naturally. You can feel the cool air going in, warm air coming out at the tip of the nostril. You are not holding breath anywhere. You are not in a hurry to inhale or exhale. Gently go along with the inhaling breath from the nostrils up to the throat. Feel the breath at the throat. You can feel the inward journey of the air, outward journey when you exhale. From the throat, now gently go all the way to the depth of your lungs. You can feel the lungs expanding, inhaling, contracting as you exhale. Now slowly start observing whether the breath is going in and pushing the lungs out, or whether the lungs expanding, giving room for the breath to go in. Now there you notice it is the muscle movement which is making the air to go in and go out possible. The muscles contract, you breathe out, muscles expand, breathe in takes place. Now observe the energy, the force which is behind the respiratory muscles. That energy which is responsible for movement of respiratory muscles is what is called as prana. And breath is a much later consequence. When the air is outside, you call it as air. When it is inside, you call it as breath. But other than that, breath and air is one and the same. Open your eyes. What we are talking about, prana, is that which is responsible for the activity of the respiratory muscles. Now, when we are outside the mother's womb, it is acting on the respiratory muscles, but when you are inside the mother's womb, that respiration is not happening, but all other activities are happening. That's how basically prana is that which is responsible for all the activities that are taking place within us. The respiration is possible because of prana. It is not the other way around. The same way, the prana is the same thing which is responsible for your heart to beat, your muscles to, your nervous system to function. Eyes see because of prana, your ears see because of prana. So all these things are because of prana. When you withdraw these activities, all that energy is in the prana. Vak pranam apyati, chaksha pranamiti, shrotram pranamiti. That's what is the idea. So essentially when we say we are doing pranayama, we are not actually actively trying to disturb the breathing or anything like that, but we are trying to control that energy which is responsible for all inner activities. Now what happens is that all the inner activities are created by prana. It is like the way that in a tire there is a pressure inside the tire, and then you check the nozzle, you reduce the pressure at the nozzle, the entire tire pressure reduces. The same way, the entry point to see able to manipulate the prana for us is the respiration. So you slow down the respiration, other activity slows down. You are agitated, mental activity is high, and then you can see that the breath rate is also very high. You slow down the breath rate, mental activity slows down. Somebody who is met with an accident, panic, you can see the BP high, heart rate is high, pulse rate is high. But you ask him to just lie down, take deep breath, everything comes down. That means to say, breath is an essential entry point for us to manipulate this. In fact, you can see in the children. And what is important thing about this understanding of prana is, when you are in anxiety, when you are angry, when you are agitated, you can see the prana is high. When you are soft, gentle, calm, peaceful, prana is slow. Inner activities are slowing down. Anger is a state where the inner activity is high, mind is fast, the prana is also fast. Child comes running to the mother, angry, upset, disturbed, agitated, complains to mother saying that, look, next door neighbor boy, he pushed me down and all that. Mother can't understand because he is not talking properly. Say, hey, I can't understand what you're talking. Just close your eyes. Take deep breath 3 to 4 times. Are you okay now? Yeah. So tell me what is the complaint. Okay, let me go and play with him. See, the moment that you slow down the prana, anger slows down. Anger comes down. Try to get angry slowly. I can't. See, that's a simple idea. So, the whole idea of pranayama is to see that how you slow down your inner self. There's another important aspect of it. It is when the prana is slow, gentle, soft, that means to say it's not just breath, the whole inner activity slows down, then you can transcend the prana. Pranamaya matmanam upasankramati. Your identification with prana, you can get rid of it, you can come out of it, and you can go to a deeper level, and that's what is mind. And then that's what the Upanishad says. You do the practice at the mind level to see that how you can transcend the mind. Manomaya matmanam upasankramati. Like that if you go, finally you become Ananda yourself. But then he says that the real Brahman is where Anandamaya matmanam upasankramati. So this journey made possible, and one step in between at the prana level to see that this spiritual journey takes place, to de-identify yourself from the body and identify yourself with the consciousness. And one step in between is this particular pranayama. Now, very lot of things are there, but I don't have much time to go through. But so let me just give a few ideas. Based on the, before the red light shows up, I just want to close it down. So before all these different prana activity that's going on, our sages have divided this into different kinds of prana based on its type of activity. It's all the same prana inside, which is called as the mukhya prana, which they call it. Based on its activity, they divide it into various groups. Like, for example, to and fro activity, up and down activity that's there. That's what they call it as prana. And that's what is responsible for respiration, that's what is responsible for heartbeat, etc., etc. And the heart is the center from where that all these activities take place. And then there is some upward activity going on. Like, for example, you are thinking, seeing, etc., etc., this upward activity. And that's what is urthvam gacchati, udanaha. Udana is the upward journey. Similarly, there is downward activity, urination, defecation. That's what is apana. I mean, each one is so unique, extraordinary. Like, for example, whatever that food that we take, whatever the water that we take, anything, and then whatever that is useful retained, and whatever that is useless is continuously dispatched, thrown out. Such a wonderful activity. That's what is apana does, throws out. And whatever that hearing, thinking, all this upward activity is what is that udana is doing. Now, apana has another very special activity also. Like, for example, the sexual activity is also by the downward activity. In fact, sexual activity is not a simple thing. It has such a great, extraordinary, wonderful purpose. Like, it has to collect the whole essence of your body, your essence, your system, your mind, not only yours. Look at the way that several generations it has to collect all that, and then it has to dispatch. It has such a big responsibility on that. Your semen that comes out and the egg that forms, it has such a big work. It's a work of that particular, the creator. It's an extraordinary, wonderful work. So that's why if you are able to be the master of that, and then that is what is brahmacharya, because Brahman is the creator. What an extraordinary, wonderful thing. We never think of it, and we simply abuse it. In fact, our sages recognize that it's not something that you should abuse. It's something which is so extraordinary. You need to take care of it. That's what is the downward activity, and then that's what is upper. And if you take the upward activity, udana, it's also another wonderful, because udana also has this memory. And this memory, like years and years of memory is there with you. In fact, all other prana activities, like for example, before I go to the udana, let me go to the vyana, which is supposed to be all over the body. That is touching sensation. It is radial. Like the prana that goes inside and comes out. I touch the feeling sensation and then goes out. And this all touching sensation. Anywhere you body, you touch it, immediately message goes. And then look at the way that immediately the message goes. Come on, take out your hand. It's hot. Everything happens instantaneously. Instantaneously. When what an amount of responsibility the touching sensation has. Like all other senses God has given us, like ears to hear, eyes to see. I mean, many times eyes are there, even then we don't see, but anyway, it's there to see. And tongue is for the taste, and there also you can see that certain part is to give you a taste of sweet, certain part is to give you different taste like that. Similarly, God would have provided us one sensory organ to touching sensation, like, you touch with your finger, and then you can touch everything. He could have given, but he's smart, not like us. He provided that touching sensation all over the body, everywhere, throughout the skin, because essentially that, if he had given us one sensory organ to touch and feel it, anywhere else, if some fire happens and then something is burning, I don't even notice it, right? So touching sensation you require throughout the body. He is very intelligent. He should be given a Nobel Prize. So, touching sensation takes the responsibility of protecting the whole body. Like that. Now, this is what is vyapakatva hiti vyanaha, that is which is everywhere. Now, there is one more thing, that is this apana, upward force and downward. There is something called as samana, which tries to, the samana, sama in English people translate as equal. It's not equal actually. It is continuously trying to balance. Like for example, you are hungry, you take food, the message comes from within that look, you have eaten enough. That's what samana. To listen to samana or not, it is left to you. But samana gives its information very clearly. Similarly, look at not only in the wakeful state, in the wakeful state, like you are climbing up the steps, you are climbing up the hill, you need extra oxygen. The samana judiciously manages to see that you breathe deeper so that that balance is created, that harmony is created. Look at the way that it is trying to create that harmony within you so much. Not only in the wakeful state, even in the sleep state. Like you are sleeping, you are exhausted, you go to sleep. And the moment that there is a harmony exists between your relaxation and the sleep and also the exertion, you wake up. Who woke you up? Samana. Subtly working within you. In fact, so much subtly it's working that you are in deep sleep and suddenly the outside weather becomes chill and then you immediately pull yourself the covers. You don't even notice. Wow. How much it's taking care of you. So, not only in the wakeful state or sleep state, but even in the comatose, in a state of comatose, you are absolutely unconscious. The inside, the repair work is going on, system, and then once the whole thing settles, you wake up. You come out of that state of coma. Once it so happened, I was so exhausted when I went for engineering, at that time. I just felt so exhausted, I went to sleep, and then I just woke up, opened my eyes. I saw that 20 people around me. I said, what happened? You were unconscious for 2 days. How did I come out? I came up naturally. See, samana takes care of us. I see each one of these pranas, how much it is taking care. That's why when the Upanishad sage talks about this, he feels that, wow, my God, this prana is something taking care of you. Like the mother keeps the child in the womb, takes care of, not only takes care of, but also helps the child to grow. That feeling, that kind of respect that Upanishad sage gets. So he says, Pranasyedam vashet sarvam tridive yat pratishtitam mateva putran rakshasva. Like the way that the mother takes care of the child, srischa prajnamcha videhinaiti. That is a wonderful concept of prana. Such a deep idea of prana. Should we just limit it to one breath that is going in, or the air that's going in, or the oxygen in the air? No. Let's work deeply. When you understand this deeper sense, then pranayama makes a lot of sense, and then we are trying to work at that level when we are doing pranayama. I don't want to take much time because the time is up. We have next program to come up. Thank you so much.